Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Ipswich Town have appointed Kieran Mckenna as their new manager after he left his position as Manchester United's first team coach. Kieran Mckenna has signed a 3-year contract with Ipswich. I hope him all the best at Ipswich. Kieran Mckenna was the assistant at Manchester United for around 3 years. So that's the news on that. Now, Ralph Rangnick must axe Anthony Martial. Not so long ago, Ralph Rangnick revealed he's not spoken with Anthony Martial. And Rangnick told Martial to speak with him directly if he wants to leave. Now we revert back to last Friday. Anthony Martial's agent confirmed that Martial wants to leave Manchester United in January. Obviously Martial is demanding more game time. He's getting nowhere near enough game time at Manchester United. He's only made, 2 starts in the Premier League this season. He's actually out with injury at the moment. I'm hearing that Juventus want Anthony Martial on loan. Not so long ago, he said Atletico Madrid offered him a swap deal. I heard that Barcelona have been in for him as well. Newcastle have expressed an interest. Martial has only endured one good season at Man United, and that was his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at Manchester United for around 6.5 years. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Martial has scored 79 goals in 268 appearances in all competitions. Manchester United paid an initial fee of 36 million for Martial from Monaco back in 2015. Manchester United are going to offload quite a few players next year. I think Edison Cavani will be leaving. I think Juan Mata will be leaving. I think Jesse Lingard will be leaving. I think there's a good chance Donny van der Beek will leave. I think Matic will be leaving. If Pogba leaves next year, he'll leave in the summer. I can't see him leaving in January, midway through the season. Well, not so long ago, Rangnick said he won't try to convince Paul Pogba to stay at Man United if he wants to go. Pogba's current contract at Man United expires next summer, At the start of the season, Pogba rejected a new Man United contract offer. Well, Pogba's not available at the moment because he's out with a thigh injury. He's out for the rest of the year. You know, he got the thigh injury in France training earlier on in the season. Telles and Dalot, I think they could be leaving next year. You know, Telles and Dalot are our second choice fullbacks, and they only really seem to play when obviously our first choice fullbacks are available, and that's Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. Phil Jones and Eric Bailly, I think they're also leaving next year. And you know the news on Dean Henderson, you know, Fabrizio Romano said yesterday that Dean Henderson wants to leave Manchester United in January to get more game time. You know, Henderson's only made 2 appearances this season. He doesn't get in goal much because revert back to last summer, David De Gea reclaimed the number 1 spot back. Revert back to earlier on this season, Henderson had COVID for a while, but towards the end of last season he got that number 1 jersey and he did well in a lot of the games he was in goal for last season. You know, he made some good saves and his distribution was good. Before the start of last season, he signed a 6-year contract to Man United, so reflecting on that, he committed his future to the club. And Henderson's got that experience behind him because he endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield, and before he's had loan spells with Shrewsbury, Stockport and Grimsby. So there you go, and as you all know, the Premier League confirmed yesterday that Manchester United's game against Brighton this weekend has been postponed due to COVID. Earlier on in the week, he said Manchester United were hit with 19 new COVID cases. Earlier on in the week, Manchester United's first team players returned to training as the Carrington training ground reopened. On Monday, Manchester United shut their Carrington training ground due to COVID. And obviously Manchester United's game against Brentford got postponed. You know, Manchester United were supposed to be playing Brentford on Tuesday night. So Man United have had 2 games postponed, not even in a week. Ralph Rangnick, you know, I think he's enjoyed a good start to his managerial career at Manchester United. So far, Rangnick is unbeaten. Reflecting on the win against Norwich last weekend, that was back-to-back wins in the Premier League for Rangnick. You know, Rangnick is Manchester United's interim manager until the end of the season. Then after that, Rangnick will take a consultancy role for a further 2 years. If Rangnick does well as the interim manager, there's a chance he'll get the Man United job on a permanent basis. For Rangnick to succeed as Manchester United manager, he's got to heavily invest in January, and he has been given a £100 million transfer budget. So you can get quite a few players out of that. There's quite a few players Manchester United are interested in. Now, there's a chance that Amadou Haidara will be the first signing of the Ralph Rangnick era, because Amadou Haidara has admitted that he's a Manchester United fan and a Cristiano Ronaldo fan. Earlier on in the season, Rangnick said he wants Amadou Haidara as his first signing at Man United. Amadou Haidara has a £33 million release clause. Rangnick knows the player well. Because Rangnick used to manage RB Leipzig. Antonio Rudiger, Manchester United have been interested in him recently. Rangnick could be the important factor in Man United's chances of signing Rudiger, because Rangnick has a good relationship with Rudiger's agent and brother. Earlier on in the week, it said that Antonio Rudiger reportedly rejected a contract extension offer from Chelsea. His current contract at Chelsea expires at the end of the season. Sky Sports News said, didn't they, that Man United have entered the race to sign Rudiger. Real Madrid earlier on this week held talks with Rudiger. PSG and Bayern Munich have also expressed an interest. Now, Rudiger's been a Chelsea player for around 4.5-5 years now. He's made 110 appearances in the Premier League for Chelsea. Chelsea got him back in 2017 from Roma for around £29 million. Frankie de Jong, Manchester United have also been in for him, but I'm very sceptical we'll get him, because earlier on in the week, Frankie de Jong's father did admit that Man United have a disadvantage in the transfer pursuit. Something to do with the bad weather, his father was saying. Frankie de Jong's at Barcelona. Barcelona got Frankie de Jong from Ajax back in 2019 for around £65 million. Jude Bellingham and Calvin Phillips have also been on Rangnick's agenda. And not so long ago, John McGinn from Aston Villa was mentioned. Rangnick, before Manchester United, he was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. I can assure at the end of the season that Manchester United will get a permanent manager. Like I've already said, could be Rangnick if he does a good job. I heard not so long ago that Erik ten Hag is the favourite to become Man United's next permanent manager. We'll revert back to earlier on in the season. It did say that Erik ten Hag is said to be interested in the Manchester United job in the summer, and Ajax will not stand in his way if he wants to leave at the end of the season. Revert back to the other week. Edwin van der Sar spoke about Man United's interest in Erik ten Hag, and Edwin van der Sar said he believes that Ajax could lose Erik ten Hag in the summer. Revert back to the other week. Roberto Mancini was also mentioned. Pochettino, obviously he's been linked with a permanent role at Man United. And revert back to earlier on in the season, Brendan Rodgers was also mentioned. So Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson. Manchester United sacked David Moyes after 10 months. Manchester United finished 7th under the Moyes era. Then Manchester United sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. Then Manchester United sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. Mourinho did enjoy one good season at Man United because he won 3 trophies in his first season. But the reasons it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the board, because the board weren't getting the players that Mourinho wanted in, and Mourinho had bad disputes with the top players. So they're the reasons. And over 3 weeks ago, Manchester United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. You know, Solskjaer was Manchester United manager for almost 3 years. As you all know, when Solskjaer got sacked, he gave a farewell interview and he got emotional in that farewell interview, which of course is understandable because Solskjaer adores the club and Solskjaer was part of the club for a long time. You know, Solskjaer is a club legend and he always will be a club legend. Despite him getting sacked over 3 weeks ago now, all United fans still adore him. You know, United fans are still chanting his name. Manchester United certainly made the right decision sacking him. Manchester United paid Solskjaer around $7.5 million to sack him because, revert back to last summer, he signed a 3-year contract with an option of a further year. Man United made a mistake giving him that contract because we knew for a long time that he wasn't the long-term manager for Man United. You know, revert back to the last few months of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure. You know, the performances were terrible. Not only that, you know, the results were terrible to go with the performances. But not all of the blame stemmed from Solskjaer, reflecting on that. You know, he was partly to blame because his tactics and his team selections were questioned a lot, but there was also players that had to take responsibility for those poor performances as well. It was obvious the players were not playing for Solskjaer. Solskjaer has no proven pedigree as a manager. The clubs he's managed in his managerial career so far, of course, he managed Man United's reserve team. Then obviously he managed Cardiff. He endured a short tenure with Cardiff. He got sacked from Cardiff because he got them relegated. Then Solskjaer endured 2 spells at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. And managed Manchester United's senior squad. So there you go. Solskjaer had a proven pedigree as a player for Man United because he won a lot of trophies as a player. You know, Solskjaer as a player, he scored 126 goals in 366 appearances in all competitions. You know, Solskjaer did get appointed in as the interim manager back in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. Solskjaer was the interim manager in his first 3 months. He did well as the interim manager, so the club decided to give him the job on a permanent basis back in March 2019. Ole knew though when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job, not only a massive job, a difficult job as well, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. You know, Solskjaer did sign 14 players when he was Manchester United manager. So in the summer of 2019, you know, he brought Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. Then in January 2020, he brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odion Ighalo in on loan. Then in the summer of 2020, which was last year, he brought Edison Cavani in, Donny van de Beek, Alex Telles, Amad Diallo and Facundo Polici. And of course, last summer, Solskjaer brought Tom Heaton in, Jadon Sancho, Rafael Varane and re-signed Cristiano Ronaldo after 12 years. Manchester United spent over £400 million under Solskjaer. When Solskjaer was United manager, he also got rid of a lot of players. He loaned players out. He got rid of a lot of players permanently. The players he did loan out last summer when he was United manager, he loaned Brandon Williams out, Andres Pereira, Ethan Laird, Axel Tuanzebe, Tahiv Chon and Facundo Pellistri. The players Solskjaer got rid of permanently. Obviously, he released Sergio Romero and Joe Pereira. He also offloaded James Wilson and Borthwick Jackson. He also offloaded Igalo, Fossa-Mensah and Rojo. Solskjaer also offloaded players like Ashley Young, Valencia, Smalling, Darmian, Fellaini left back in January 2019. He also offloaded Angel Gomez and Ander Herrera. He also offloaded Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. So there you go. They're a lot of the players he's got rid of. In his first full season when he was Man United manager, Solskjaer got Man United to 3 semi-finals and a third place finish. In his second full season, got us to the Carabao Cup semi-final, the FA Cup quarter-final and the Europa League final. That was his first major final when he was Man United manager, but he didn't win it. He got us a second place finish last season, and when Manchester United had Solskjaer, Man United went 29 games unbeaten away from home in the Premier League. I also like the way Solskjaer developed the youth when he was Man United manager. But revert back to the start of this season, I did mention, didn't I, that this season was going to be big for Solskjaer. And I said he had big expectations to exceed. And the expectations were far too high for him to exceed when he was United manager. Solskjaer did not win a trophy as Man United manager. And I said he wasn't capable of winning trophies as a manager. Manchester United have not won a trophy since 2017. So I'm hoping we can win a trophy under Ralph Rangnick this season. But Solskjaer, the pressure was on him at the start of this season when he was United manager, because revert back to last summer, Manchester United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window. We made 4 signings. 3 of the 4 signings were major signs, and last summer, Man United must have spent around £141 million. Plus, last summer when Solskjaer was United manager, he received very good backing from the board. The Glazers backed him. Ed Woodward backed him. Our director of football, John Murtaugh, backed him. And Darren Fletcher backed him. When Solskjaer was United manager, I think he enjoyed like 5 transfer windows. So there you go. But like I say, Manchester United have got very, very good players in the team. Look who we've got. We've got the best player in the world overall in Cristiano Ronaldo. We've also got Mason Greenwood. That's a talented player. We've got Jadon Sancho. That's a good player. Sancho's not done as well as a lot of United fans expected, but it does take some players time to settle in. Sancho does look a better player since Solskjaer got sacked. We've got Bruno Fernandes. That's also an exceptional player as well. He's one of our best players, and he's certainly one of the best signings we've made since Fergie retired. Fernandes has enjoyed a lot of poor games though this season. I'm shocked in that aspect, because last season Fernandes was tremendous. I think Rangnick needs to consider giving Fernandes a rest. Marcus Rashford is a decent player overall, but I think Rashford's endured a lot of poor games since he come back from that shoulder problem. He hasn't been the same since he come back from that shoulder problem. And Rangnick definitely needs to drop Rashford. Edison Cavani, he's also a decent player as well. Cavani will be leaving next year, like I've said. Cavani initially lost his place in the team with the club re-signing Ronaldo last summer. He's out with an injury at the moment. Well, he had an injury earlier on in the season. You know, Donny van der Beek, I think he's also good as well, but haven't had a great deal of a perception on him at Manchester United because he doesn't get enough starts. So reflecting on that, I think he'll leave in January, like I said earlier on in the video. The only way we can persuade him to stay, and that's if he gets the opportunities he's been demanding under the Rangnick era, because revert back to Solskjaer, you know, Van der Beek got nowhere near enough opportunities, and reflecting on that, Van der Beek was very frustrated. Fred, I don't think he's a good player overall, but I've certainly been very impressed with him in recent weeks. Hope he can continue with these good performances. Then my perceptions will start to change on him. You know, Manchester United got Fred for 50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk a few years ago now. Paul Pogba, he's also a good player. He's not only a good player, he's an imperative player as well. You know, Alex Telles is a decent left back. You know, he's been playing a lot of football in recent weeks because obviously Luke Shaw was unavailable because he was out with a concussion. Luke Shaw missed like 4 games in a row. Luke Shaw, I think he's a decent left back overall, but he hasn't really proven how good he can be so far this season. And I'm shocked in that aspect because revert back to last season, he was absolutely superb, was Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw has had a couple of injuries though this season, but it's still no excuse for his bad performances. I'm sure as the season goes on, he will regain his form. I'm hoping he can regain his form under Rangnick. Wan-Bissaka, you know, he's a good right back defensively, but the attacking side of his game is not so good. Diego Dalot, he's good when he wants to be. He's had some good games when he's played this season for Man United. You know, Dalot only seems to play when Bissaka's not available. Dalot is our backup right back to Bissaka. Eric Bailly, you know, he's a good centre-half as well, but doesn't get much game time. He lost his place in the team a while ago with the club signing Varane last summer, and obviously Lindelof's been preferred to Bailly. Don't know why, because Bailly is a far superior centre-half to Lindelof. My concern about Bailly is injury prone. I think Varane's a good centre-half as well. He's out with a hamstring injury at the moment. He's close to returning though, because it did say if the Brighton game would have gone ahead tomorrow that Varane could have made his return. Revert back to earlier on in the season, Varane had a groin injury and he was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. I think Harry Maguire is a good centre-half when he wants to be, but hasn't really proven how good he can be at Manchester United. He's been inconsistent in a lot of games for Man United, but he's had his good games as well. To be honest with you, I thought Maguire was far superior at Leicester than he has been at Man United. Revert back to earlier on in the season, Maguire had a calf injury. He's been very poor since he come back from that calf injury. Towards the end of last season, Maguire had ligament damage in his ankle. And, you know, David De Gea, he's a very, very good goalkeeper. He's back to his best now. You know, De Gea's done really, really well this season. You know, last weekend against Norwich, he got man of the match. Henderson's a good keeper as well. That Anthony Elanga, you know, he looks a good asset for the first team squad. Doesn't get much in the first team squad though, does he? He did start against Young Boys the other week in that 1-1 draw, and he came on in the 1-0 win against Crystal Palace. Imad Diallo, I said a while ago that he looked a good asset for the first team squad. Doesn't really get in the first team squad. I'm hearing that he's leaving on loan next year. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do. Consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.